Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, May 15th, 8:30, and time for the morning briefing. First of all, no changes to the National Terrorism Advisory System overnight. No current alerts or expired alerts. Snapshot of the region this morning. You do see the updated numbers from Wednesday on the unaccompanied children. No declaration updates to talk about this morning. You see the damage assessments that are going on in Oklahoma or about to start there. No fire management grants to talk about this morning. As we switch over to the geo platform this morning, more rain out there. Brian is with us here in the Region 6 studio, and he's going to tell us about the rain in just a moment. Before that, no changes to the status of our state EOCs. New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana are at level 4 steady state. Texas is at level 2, and the region here is at level 3. No changes to the status of our IMAX, and you do see all the stuff from the event that is going on. Power outages continue to go down, and we have 7 shelters for 12 occupants in Texas, 1 shelter for 19 in Oklahoma. And now over to Brian to tell us about the weather.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We do have some fairly active weather across Texas this morning and also up into Oklahoma. The stuff out of Oklahoma should be lifting out to the north and northeast and also into Arkansas. That weather really shouldn't be a factor as far as any severe weather or flooding for the most part. The stuff down in Texas, we do have the threat for flash flooding. We saw some earlier this morning in the Uvalde area, and that's pushing off to the east. And we have flash flood watches out basically for the areas you see where the current rain is, east of San Antonio, out towards Houston, and then north of Houston there's a flash flood watch as well. Later on today we'll see activity pick up over the panhandles, and there's a slight risk of severe thunderstorms up there. Taking a very quick look at the tropics, nothing to speak of. So here's the threat matrix. We're going to continue a fairly active weather pattern. The moderate river flooding will continue for East Texas and along the Red River in southern Oklahoma, North Texas for today and tomorrow. And then as we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the moderate river flooding is forecast to drop off over the Red River for the most part and be focused primarily over East Texas. Could start to slide a little bit into central and southwest Texas as well. As far as severe thunderstorms, as I mentioned, we'll have a slight risk of severe thunderstorms, primarily wind and hail this afternoon and evening over the panhandles and into northwest Oklahoma. Already covered the heavy rain and flash flooding areas, but also in the panhandles with that activity, we could see some flash flooding up there as well. For tomorrow afternoon and evening, the severe thunderstorm risk picks up a little bit. We have for central and western Oklahoma and into northwest Texas an enhanced area that's being outlooked right now. Again, primarily wind and hail, but we will see the risk for a few tornadoes in that area. And then for the rest of Oklahoma and into north and west Texas, a slight risk, which should be primarily winds and hail. Heavy rain and flash flooding is going to be a potential from southern Oklahoma into north, central, and southwest Texas tomorrow. And then that activity will slide off to the east and north on Sunday. And we'll see the risk for heavy rain and flash flooding shift into northeast Texas and northeastward into the Arklatex and much of Arkansas. Things kind of quiet down on Monday with basically scattered showers and thunderstorms across the region and no threats really being outlined at this time. And then we get a system that comes into the western and northern portions of the region, and we'll see the risk for heavy rain and flash flooding over eastern New Mexico and into essentially the northwest portions of Texas, in the panhandles, and over into western Oklahoma. Just wanted to summarize the flash flood watches for those that are looking at the watch warning map. Could be a little confusing, so I wanted to point that out. The one over the Dallas-Fort Worth area is actually not valid until the starting time on that is not until Saturday afternoon, and that'll be ending on Sunday morning. So the other flash flood watches down to the south, as I mentioned earlier on the radar, is basically for the activity today and valid through this evening. Current status of the rivers, mostly moderate flooding is what we're taking a look at right now and keeping our eyes on over East Texas and, as mentioned, along the Red River. The stuff along the Red River should drop off in the next day or two, and then we'll just focus our efforts over East Texas and possibly into Central Texas. So there's the area that I was mentioning. So the yellow area is this is kind of the 5-day outlook for river flooding as far as the potential is concerned. We could see significant, when they say significant again, that's moderate or greater river flooding from essentially north central and northeast Texas down along the I-35 corridor into central and southwest Texas. So the threat for today, for Saturday, we have an enhanced risk of severe thunderstorms for damaging winds and hail. Mentioned also a few tornadoes in that area, and then the slight risk area extends down into southwest Texas. The heavy rain and flash flooding threat, as I mentioned, will shift off to the east on Sunday from northeast Texas into the Arklatex and Arkansas, and the severe weather threat will diminish on Sunday. The next system that's going to come in early next week will be over eastern New Mexico, West Texas, the Panhandles, and western Oklahoma, and we'll just keep an eye on that and give you updates as the precipitation forecast amounts change over the next few days. So here's the total rainfall forecast as of now for the next 5 days. You see the heaviest areas, not necessarily where we want that, so certainly keeping an eye on that. And again, a lot of that is going to occur over this weekend, and so we'll just continue to refine that forecast. But over the Arklatex and into northeast Texas, right now we're not expecting any significant additional enhancement to the river flooding, but we'll just continue to assess that as we work through the weekend. The drought monitor was released yesterday, and we have just seen an incredible improvement in the drought essentially across the region. So that's the good news with all this rain that we've been seeing. And space weather pretty quiet today, picking up by late Saturday into Sunday with a minor geomagnetic storm forecast at this time, but really shouldn't be much of an impact to the region. And that's all I've got, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Any questions for the Weather Service? Go ahead and type those in the chat window. If you're on the phone, ask your question. In the meantime, we'll take a look at the meetings. Do we have a question? On the phone, do we have a question? There's the events that finish up the week today. And we have an announcement there. Mitigation brown bag on Monday. Bring your lunch to the Russell Zubin Building, Texas Room, for a brown bag mitigation lunch. On this day in history, 1896, a tornado hit Sherman, Texas. And there's a picture of a big tornado. Any questions this morning? All right, everyone. Have a great Friday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.